yoga flow class on Friday, January 15th. So take your time and get comfortable. So if you're at home and you know you feel better to have blankets to sit on, do it. Or if you even feel like sitting in a chair, right? Let your yoga be for you so that you're able to feel good about what you're doing and get easy in the way you're sitting so your hips don't feel stressed out at all. You can use blocks underneath your legs if that helps to support you a little bit. You can also sit with your back against the wall if that feels good, and let yourself just feel that little bit of support behind you. And just close your eyes and accept your breaths now, in and out through your nose. Feeling the breath coming into your belly, letting your belly rise and expand as you inhale. And let's let our hands release down beside us. Easy inhale here. And when you exhale, twist to your right. Let your back do the twisting. And once you get around as far as you want to go into your twist, just let your hands rest wherever they come to. So really feel like you're twisting with your back. You're not using your arms to draw you around. And one more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back around. Let yourself move all the way into the other direction. And again, be mindful here as you come around. Let the back come into the twist. Let your hands rest comfortably. One more inhale. And let your exhale again. Make your way back to center. Let yourself feel nice and strong here in the core. And then as you exhale, let your hands come to rest right in front of your chest, bringing your hands together into prayer hands. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Let yourself separate your pointer fingers just a little bit and then reconnect them. And then separate your middle fingers a little bit and then reconnect them. And then let your ring fingers separate a little. And then they come back together, and now your pinkies. They release back together. Your thumbs just a little bit, not so much where it feels stressful, and then bring your thumbs back to meet. Spread your fingers nice and wide. And then as you inhale, let your hands come up through the midline only as high, keeping them together as your shoulders feel good to go. And then when you exhale, let the hands come right back to be right in front of your chest. So again, we'll inhale the hands up through the midline, keeping them together, and no, don't stress, just go as much as your shoulders let you. And then exhale, bringing them back down. So let yourself move that way, just 2 or 3 more times with your own breath, the length of your own inhales and exhales. So just starting to feel connected to the breath moving the body here. And then the next time that the hands come back to be in front of your chest, let them stay there. And then we'll go side to side. So as you inhale, let your hands slide over, doesn't matter which side, towards one side. And then as you exhale, bring them across and all the way over to the other. And it doesn't matter, again, how far you go, follow your own breath. time that you exhale, let your hands stop back at center again. And we'll unfold our arms on down beside us here now, lightly touching the ground with your fingertips. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. If you are cross-legged here, flex your feet a little bit, press gently down into the outside edges of your feet, and come on forward, nice long back. You know, you can put your hands right there to give you a little support. You can walk further out with the hands if that feels good, coming into your forward bend. You know, if you need to lengthen your legs instead of staying cross-legged, do. Take your time, let yourself be easy there, let the head hang. If possible, if it doesn't bother your back, if you feel better to keep your head in line with your spine, do. And now see if you can keep your hands kind of centered, but let your shoulders shift just a little bit one way and then the other. So your torso is just shifting a little bit side to side. Good. And then when you're ready, coming on back into center, one more breath here. And we'll walk our hands on back up. And we're going to switch the cross of our legs, so if you need to stretch them out a little bit before you bring your other leg in front, do, so that you're comfortable with it. And again, whether your legs are long or your legs are crossed, if you do have crossed legs, press into the outside edges of your feet. We're going to come on forward. Again, take your time. You can go just a little tiny bit, keeping the back very, very long. You may decide it feels really good to fold further forward. Just be mindful. Try to let yourself feel like you're coming forward from your low back. And then this time, when you lift up just a little bit, walk over towards your left, like out over your left thigh. So take your time, let yourself feel a little more there in the right side waist. See if you can maybe stretch your right arm a little longer. Come up to your fingertips, feel a little more on that right side. And then come on back. We're going to walk back through center, and we're going to go the other side. So again, once you get over there, see if you can start to lengthen your left arm longer. Maybe keep your fingertips on the floor if you can. Find a little more there on the left side. And then we're going to come back into center, walk our way on back. Come into a couple of nice breaths here, feeling that back release. And then we're going to walk ourselves on back up, letting our fingertips come out onto the floor beside us here now. We'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And now just clasp your hands, squeeze your palms together for a second. Feel your biceps, your shoulders. And then just press out forward into the heels of the hands so that you come forward of your chest. Try not to round forward in the upper back. Think of the chest coming a little bit forward. And float your arms up only as high as your shoulders allow, right? Maybe halfway up towards above your head. Maybe you'd like to keep going and bring the hands directly overhead. That's up to you. You can let yourself feel framed here almost so that you're not lifting your shoulders. Shoulders are releasing down. And lean over towards one side. Doesn't matter which one. Just letting yourself come into a little bit of side stretch there. And then come on back into center and go over to the other side. And then we'll come on back into center again. Let's release our hands. Let them come on down beside us here now. Take a breath, just sitting nice and tall. Seated mountain here. And we're going to make our way on around towards our hands and knees. So if you know that you need to have a blanket underneath your knees, get one. If your wrists bother you, by all means, make any adjustment you need. Hands up on a blanket. Sometimes if you put a blanket underneath the heels of the hands, that's helpful. Not always, but or coming to fists, right? So just making sure that you feel real easy there. Now at first, see if you can just shift your hips from side to side and let yourself wag your tail around a little bit. Let your head go. And then make your way on back to get very neutral, centered here. And then send your right toes back on the floor behind you. Curl them under, press into the heel here so that you wake up into the calf, into the back of that right leg. Now, if you want a little bit more, you can lift up your hips and your left knee a little bit and press into the top of your left toes to get a little bit more too into waking up that foot there. And then come on down with the knee. We're going to bring the right knee back under us. And then we're going to switch to put the left foot back. Curl the toes under. Press into that inner heel, if you can think about that. Engage your belly. And then again, if you want to lift up, try to press into the top of the right toes there. So waking up the top of the foot. And then we'll come on back down with that right knee. Bring our left knee on down. Shift back towards pose of a child. You don't have to go all the way. Let yourself come back where you can. Release if you need to, a little more forward over your forearms. And breathe into your low back. Let yourself release here. Now, if any of you feel good to bend your elbows and put your hands up on your upper back. If that feels good to stretch your triceps out that way, you can. If not, don't do it. Good. And then we'll bring our arms on back long, and we're going to make our way all the way back up to all fours. And we'll bring our left foot forward and come on into a lunge here. So if you like blocks underneath your hands, go right ahead and get them. Take your time to get situated here, letting yourself feel now that alignment of that front knee. Any way you want your blocks, you know that, any height. You can use fists on the blocks or fingertips, or you can go flat onto your hands. And then we're going to switch and go to the other side. So right foot comes forward, left foot back, coming into lunge, getting that alignment, finding the length of the back body. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Feel like you're waking up your entire body here in this lunge. And then we're going to switch again. So this time, if you can lower your right knee down to the mat, do. If you need a blanket underneath your knee, do. Shift your hips forward a little bit, if you can. Maybe that's enough right there. If you do feel like, well, I'd like to put my left forearm up to my thigh, you can, right? You can even put both hands up here if you want. You can bring your hands to your heart if you feel like you want to be up with your shoulders over your hips there, or you can bring your arms overhead. That is up to you. Be really mindful. Don't push anything, especially if you feel pretty tight here and feels like too much stress. Don't do it. And then we'll release to come on back down with our hands. We're going to lift the back knee up, find lunge here. And we're going to switch and go to the other leg. So again, that blanket if you need, underneath your left knee. Take your time, come to the top of the left foot, press gently into the top of the toes. Now again, this lifting up business, totally up to you. You don't need to do it. You can if you want. You can bring hands to your thigh. You can bring your hands to your heart. You can reach your arms up overhead. So be mindful again. Just let yourself enjoy opening up the front of that left hip there. And then we're going to release back down with our hands. And lift that back knee up, find your lunge again. And we'll step forward from here to come into standing forward bend. So feet hips distance apart and parallel. Once you get your feet just apart the way that feels good for you, bend one knee at a time. Let yourself walk a little bit in your Uttanasana. So just bending one knee and then the other. And then come on back to center. Let yourself slightly bend your knees. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. You know if you need support, use it. Elbows above your knees, hands on your blocks. Let yourself be easy here to feel the weight of the head. And following the breaths now, all the way in, all the way out. So keeping your awareness on your breaths. letting our hands now come on back up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. Letting our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So let yourself adjust into your mountain pose however you need to do that. If you need to move around a little bit, you need to let yourself sway or shift your weight. Let yourself be mindful now, starting to feel equal through your feet. So feeling like you're pressing the floor away from you equally with your feet. Thighs gently lifting upward. Tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. Again, if a little movement needs to happen, let it. Let your gaze come on forward, whether your eyes are open or closed. And just enjoy feeling your shoulders nice and wide and open. And imagine breathing as you inhale up the front of your body and the breath going over the top of your head, and as you exhale, the breath coming down the back of your body. So almost like you're encircled by your own breath, inhaling up the front and exhaling down the back. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us here now. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend your knees as you come forward into that standing forward bend. Take it out of your back. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we'll step the right foot back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time, first dog of the class, be mindful, move if you need to, walk, wag your tail, whatever helps you get more comfortable, more easy into your dog. And then just look at your hands. Might have to come forward a little bit. Make sure your pointer fingers are about parallel to each other, which puts your wrist creases about parallel to the front edge of your mat. Hug your elbows in a little bit towards each other. You can reach on back fully into your dog and really be mindful. As you inhale, feel your heels rise up a little higher. And when you exhale, let the heels descend back down. So the inhale, the heels rise up. And on the exhale, they release down. Just a couple more times, letting yourself feel the calves open up a little bit more here, the backs of the legs. And the next time you come back down with the heels, we're going to let our next inhale bring us to plank. Nice and strong. Now just for fun here, see if you can bend your right knee, bring it almost to the floor, press into the top of the toes. Like we did before, you're pressing into the top of your foot. And then come back with that knee, back into your plank, and then go to the other side. Left knee comes down, but you press into the top of the foot, and then come back. Let's do it one more time. Right knee comes down, press into the top of the toes, and then go back, and then left comes down, press into the top of that foot, come back to plank. Probably enough of that. We're going to lower down. You can put your knees down first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And we're going to slide into a Sphinx pose. Elbows underneath the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. For a second, turn your hands so that you have the pinky fingers on the floor and your palms are facing each other. Spread your fingers out a little bit here. Let yourself just enjoy. And then gently turn the hands over, palms down now. Look down there between your hands, maybe a little bit more forward. Remember, if your back bothers you, you can go lower, slide your elbows down towards your waist. Good, one more breath. And then we're going to release back down. We're going to come on back into down dog from here. Whether you go through hands and knees or a full or a half push up there, spread your fingers wide. Reach back through your sitting bones equally. And now, let yourself bend your knees a little bit. Imagine you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet, pressing them gently away from each other. Elbows hugging in. And now we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. You can get there however you need. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet right underneath us. If you're okay to bring your hands to your elbows, go right for it. If you know you need support, use it. And now full deep breaths. Easy, right? Just easily accepting your breaths in and out. Good. We're going to bring our hands back up to our hips now. Bend our knees and rise on up. And inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. We're going to unfold our arms, bring our hands behind us, interlace your fingers here. And let yourself for a second bend your elbows more and squeeze your palms together. Right? So you can really feel your biceps there. If it hurts your shoulders, obviously don't do it. We're going to bend our knees here and come on forward. Now stay about parallel to the floor. Keep your palms squeezing, if you can, towards each other. Let yourself just feel how your arms feel there. One more breath. And now if you're okay to continue folding forward over your legs, do. And now, see about letting your hands with the palms together come a little bit away from you. And it won't be nearly as much as just interlacing your fingers when your palms are together, for most of us. And then let your hands come on back down towards your back. And release your arms on down to the floor. And on the next inhale, bring your elbows above your knees and bring yourself into a nice long back again. So hands just come kind of into prayer hands. You're resting your elbows above your knees. And now as we exhale, we're going to twist. Right elbow coming over towards the left knee. And come into a little twist here with a nice long spine, remember. And then come on back into center. Inhaling here at center. And on the exhale, bringing that left elbow towards the right knee, coming into twist, staying level there in your hips. Good, and then we'll come on back into center. One more inhale. And on the exhale, let yourself fold forward. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale, left foot back into lunge here. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let your inhale bring you out to plank. Exhale, we're going to lower down, knees first if you need. And we'll come into a little cobra. Now you can stay low, or you can go ahead and press into your hands if you're comfortable to do so, and come on up higher into your cobra. So low or high, doesn't matter. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog from here, whether you go through a full half push-up or hands and knees. Bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then all the way back into our standing forward bend again. Nice deep breaths. Ease your way into feeling those breaths even out if you can. So your inhales and exhales come pretty close to the same length. Or even letting your exhales be a little bit longer than your inhales. Let go of your face. Let your jaw release. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Take a breath or two here in mountain. We're going to move with the breath through a couple of sun salutations. Really imagine that the breath is what is just leading you through very easily through your sun salutations. So we'll release our arms down beside us. Inhale the arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale be what carries you forward. And then inhale into that long back. And exhale right foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Inhaling out to that plank, your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice, ha-ha. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising with your inhale all the way to the top. And on the exhale, coming forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhaling your way to your plank, exhaling your way down, and inhaling into that cobra, and exhaling back to down dog. Inhale, exhale left foot forward, and inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees rising up, arms all the way up. And on the exhale, we'll fall forward again. Inhale, find that long back. We're going to come to down dog, however you want to get there. Jump or walk. Take your time. Wag your tail if you need to. Walk if you need to. Shake your legs out. In other words, just let your body do what it needs to get more comfortable. Feel equal to your hands here. And then start to watch your breath. Let your breath settle down. Imagine you're breathing into your back, ribs. Good. And we are going to bring our left foot forward, and we're coming up for Warrior 2. Have your blocks handy there, in case you want them, by the front of your mat. Line your heels up. Line that front knee up. Let yourself, for a second, bring your right arm under your left and give yourself a little hug. Elbows melt down. You can go to eagle wrap if you want to. Totally not necessary. Really let your shoulders release where you're comfortable to be. Releasing there between the shoulder blades on the back. And then we'll release our arms on down. We're going to float the arms up. Imagine you have balloons in your armpits, and they're going to blow up slowly to where the arms come straight out, bringing your gaze out over the top of that left hand. Feel the feet in the floor equal. Gently imagine you're trying to lengthen your mat out longer. Good. And now bring your right hand down. Fold your right arm behind onto your low back if you can. Forearm folded back there. Turn the left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. You may want to reach a little behind yourself. Breathe into that whole left side that's so open now in this reverse warrior. And let your next exhale bring you into your side angle. Now if you can, keep that right hand behind you. It can be in the middle of the back, or you can shift it over to your left hip. You can even let yourself shift it more to the right, depending on your shoulder. Just open up here. Feel that right shoulder drawing up. Press into that left forearm. Now take your right arm long and lie it down right there on the outside of your body, your right leg there. And then from here, we're just going to swing that arm up in front of our chest and right up into line, into that long right side of the body, turning the right pinky down. Now, if your shoulder bothers you, don't do this. You know that. Be where you can. Good. One more breath. And we're going to come on back into Warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. Nice. Let your hands come down. Turn your feet more parallel. We are going to adjust for goddess. So you want to get to where you can turn your heels forward a little bit. Your toes are turned out. Once you bend your knees a little bit, take your time. Maybe even shift a little side to side so you get easily into this goddess. So you want to make sure that your knees are not really collapsing inward. Think about the knees being out over the center of your feet. Now bring your arms out beside you. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Spread your fingers nice and wide. See if when you inhale, you can come up just a little bit. And when you exhale, you bend the knees a little deeper again. So the tailbone drops straight down. You inhale up a little and exhale down. And if it bothers you, don't do it. You know, if you have knee issues and this doesn't feel good, don't do it. And then the next time you come down, let yourself stay there. Be mindful here. See if you can lift your right heel a little bit up off the floor. And then put it down. See if you can lift your left heel a little bit off the floor. And then put it down. Now if you want to go for both, go for it. Both heels up a little bit. And then we'll bring them down. And we're going to come up a little with longer legs. Turn our toes more forward so we're parallel with our feet. And we're going to make our way forward. Grab blocks if you want for your wide-legged forward bend. So take your time. Bend one knee at a time once you get down there. In other words, just kind of scoot your way from side to side at your own pace so that you feel easier in the pose. Good. And then come on back back into center. Now, you decide if you need blocks underneath your forearms or your hands, and support yourself so your back is longer to release into the pose. Or perhaps you feel fine to bring your hands between your feet, or hold your ankles, right? Or let your hands walk behind you. So get to a place where you can really feel like released in your upper body. Obviously you're standing up, you're using your legs, your hips, but really allowing yourself to feel as relaxed as you can through the upper body, in your face, your shoulders, your jaw. And then feel and accept those full deep breaths again, all the way in and all the way out. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our hands back out so we can walk back to our left foot. Coming on back into our lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. You know, vinyasas or kriyas are always up to you. So if you like to come out to that plank, you can either lower down through chaturanga and come into your back bend of choice, or you can move through those kriyas, coming out to plank and moving through to your up dog. So if you'd rather put your knees down and rest, right? So take your time. Let yourself move the way you can. And then we're going to meet back in down dog. Take time to find your dog. Spread your fingers wide. Feel your elbows hug towards each other. Think about the back of your head being in line with your spine. Let yourself really enjoy the whole body here in your down dog, like a resting down dog. And we'll bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two on this other side. So again, lining up your heels, getting that length of stance where you feel really comfortable. That alignment of that front knee. Again, if you can bring your left arm under your right this time and give yourself just a hug and maybe stay there, or head towards your eagle wrap, whatever feels the most releasing for your shoulders. Just let yourself go here. Feel the feet in the floor. You know, if you feel like you're tensing up too much in your hips or your legs, or, you know, you can kind of straighten a little bit and then bend again. So just be mindful. Good. And then we'll unfold our arms, and we're going to float the arms on up and out. Again, bringing your gaze out over the top of that right hand. Reaching back equally through the left fingertips, forward through the right. Feel the feet in the floor. Coming into that strength and power of warrior two. And now we'll lower the left arm down. Fold the arm down behind you if you can. Turn your right palm up, and inhale, we'll reach up. Maybe even a little behind yourself. Breathing into the right ribs. So on those inhales, imagine the spaces between the ribs getting bigger. And on the next exhale, we're going to come into side angle. So bring in your right hand or forearm onto your thigh. So press down into that hand or forearm. Find that length through both sides of the body. Remember, this hand can stay on your back or go to either the right or the left hip, but just feel really good about it there. And then go ahead and lay your arm down on the side of your body, on the hand right there on the outside of your left leg. And we're going to swing it on up in front of the chest and bring it on up into line. Keep pressing into that right forearm or hand. Draw the outer right hip back. Find length through both sides of the body. Good. Now to come up, press those feet gently away from each other. Let yourself find that core strength to get right back into your warrior two. Soften your shoulders down. Reach out through the fingertips. Nice. We're going to bring the hands down, turn the feet more parallel. Now we're going to adjust for that goddess again. So rotating your heels a little forward, bend the knees. If you need again to shift a little bit side to side, do. But keep your hands down on your thighs, okay? And then rise your right arm up overhead. And we're going to come into a side stretch from here. Now these are hard because really, you're just moving from the waist up instead of doing anything from the waist down. So you can put your hand or your forearm on your left thigh. That's up to you. Stay as solid as you can from the waist down and equal. We're going to come on back up to the top. Bring both hands down for a minute. And then we'll bring the left arm up. Now take your time. Lift up and out of your waist really as you come over into that side stretch. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower both arms down. Now bring your arms on straight out. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Really spread your fingers. And just let yourself enjoy your full goddess here. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our toes more parallel. And come on forward into wide-legged forward bend. Now this time, once you get your hands down, turn your toes out again. And then bend one knee at a time, right? So just let yourself, it's a very different stretch than when your feet are parallel. You can go as low as you want. You can shift to the right, bend the right knee, lift the left foot up, even shifting your hips down towards the floor if you want to. So these deep stretches, optional totally. You don't have to go lower. If you do, just make sure you support yourself with your hands if you're going to go down. And then when you're ready, come back into center, turn the toes forward again, and let's walk over towards the right foot. Doesn't matter how far you go. Now, if you're able to put your right hand on the outside of your ankle, do, and put your left hand on top, and then just draw your torso over. Really let your head release and breathe. You don't have to go that far, obviously. And then walk back through center and over towards the left. Again, you don't have to go all the way over, but if you put your left hand on the outside of your ankle, right hand there on top, and then just draw yourself. Let your head release. Let your face soften. And then we'll come on back into center again. And again, you find the spot for yourself. If you like blocks under your head, under your forearms, by all means use support. Find a spot where you can be and feel that sense of being able to breathe without feeling stressed, accepting your breaths in and out. One more breath. And then we'll walk our hands on back out. We're going to walk back to our right foot, come back into our lunge, and from there back into our downward facing dog pose. And again, vinyasas or kriyas up to you, or put your knees down, or stay in dog. You know that. You can come to plank and just practice being in your plank. There are lots of things you can do here. Be mindful. Don't push yourself through. Good. We are going to meet back in downward facing dog pose. And from here, bring your feet a little closer together. Let's bring our left leg up in the air. Three-legged dog. Toes are facing down. Find that squareness in the hips. So you're not opening the hip and stacking right now. You're turning your toes down, that left foot towards the ground. One more breath. Feel equal through your hands. And then we'll bring that left foot forward. We're going to come into lunge. And from the lunge, you may want to grab your blocks because we are going to straighten that front knee out and come into pyramid pose. So adjusting the length of your stance as you lower that right heel down. Remember, right foot's turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees, fully on the floor. You might even want to look back at that foot. The tendency is often to roll to the inside of the foot. See if you can feel even the pinky toe mound on the floor. You can always try lifting all your toes up. And then just enjoy Lengthen out through both sides of the body here now. Engage your belly, but reach back through your tailbone. Let the legs have a chance to adjust. Thighs are engaging upward. Good. And now keep your right hand where it is. We're going to bring our left hand to our left hip and come into Revolve Triangle, rolling that left shoulder up. Hand can stay right there on your sacrum, palm down if you can. Or you can reach the arm up. If you feel fine to do that, you can let that arm come up. If that bothers your shoulder, just put it back down. Be happy with where you are there. Thighs lifting upward. One more breath. And then let your left hand come on back down. Now, if you want to bow over this front leg, go for it. If it feels good to you, you can always put your hands on the floor if you want to go lower like that. You can turn your fingertips to face the back end of your mat. Or not. You know, you can stay up, stay with hands on the blocks or not fold. One more breath. And now walk your hands on back. We're going to find lunge again from here. So releasing that right heel directly behind you. And now for the fun part. We're going to launch forward. You can have your blocks underneath your hands, lifting that right leg up in the air. Turn your toes down for a second, and like a warrior three here, and then bend both your knees quite a bit. Really give yourself a little break here. And then go ahead and stretch long into that leg and start to rotate into half moon. Letting the right toes turn away from the floor. So letting yourself take your time. Doesn't matter if you ever balance here or not. If you want to bring your right hand up to your hip or stretch your arm out, you can. If it's been a long time since you've done yoga or you feel like, you know, it's been a very strange year, so be mindful of that. Don't force anything. Just be where you can. Let it feel good. Let yourself enjoy. You can keep your gaze down at the floor if you want. Take your time. One more breath. And then we're going to come down with our hand. We're going to step back into lunge. So letting yourself release back again into your lunge. And then we'll come back into downward facing dog pose. So again, you can walk through your dog. You can come through, come into planks. You can move through for back bends or not. Rest in child's pose or dog pose if you'd rather. Good. And let's finish off. Meet back in down dog. Bringing the feet a little closer together once you're there. Right leg's going to come up in the air, finding that three-legged dog. So turn the toes down. Let yourself hug your elbows towards each other. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to bring that foot on forward to lunge. So take your time, grab your blocks if you need. From this lunge, we're going to come into that pyramid pose. So coming into straight legs, lowering that back heel to the floor, and adjust your stance. You know, you might decide you want your feet 2 feet apart. You absolutely do not have to have a long stance in your pyramid pose to work the backs of your legs. You do want that heel down on the back foot. You do want the 4 corners of the feet on the floor. Thighs engaging up towards the hips. Now try to lengthen your spine. Think about engaging your low belly, but reach your tailbone back. Maybe even reaching your tailbone a little up once it reaches back. And now from here, keeping the left hand grounded, right hand's going to come to your right hip. You can roll that shoulder up, trying to find the twist in the middle of your back. Try not to roll to the outside of that right foot. That's pretty hard. You can stretch your right arm up if you want. One more breath. And then let yourself come back down with your hand. Now, if you want to bow over that front leg, now's the time to do it. You can let yourself release forward. If that feels like a relief, go for it. And if it feels like no good, don't do it. And breathe wherever you are. Now, let your hands come back onto the blocks or the floor, wherever you are, and go ahead and find your lunge again. And now get ready to launch forward. So send your blocks out there if you're using them. Let yourself come on up and bend both your knees for a second. So kind of in a warrior three, but then just really releasing by letting the knees bend. And then once you straighten the leg out into a warrior three, then start to rotate up so that you come into stacking the left hip on top of the right. Coming into your half moon. So you can keep your gaze down. You can let yourself release the hand off the block if you want, or not. If you're having a not so good balance day, like me today, just keep your hand down, don't worry about it. Just enjoy letting yourself stand on the one leg, elongating through the spine. Beautiful, one more breath. And then we're gonna come on back down with our hand, and we're gonna step back into lunge again. And last downward facing dog pose into vinyasas if you choose. Or kriyas, right? So you can come through. You don't have to do anything. You can put your knees down. Good. Woo, finish off the one you're on. And then from here, we'll walk our feet from our dog wider towards the outside edges of our mat. Bend our knees and walk our hands back. Now you can end up with your elbows above your knees to support yourself in the squat. Or, you know, if you'd like to adjust your feet and come down into squat because it feels really good to you, then you can. So just be mindful of your knees and your hips. Let it feel good. If you're in a squat where your arms are to the inside of the knees there, you can press gently into your arms with the insides of the legs there, the knees. Let the back and the hips release. Good. And then we're going to release so we can come on up with the hips, get our feet right underneath us. Let yourself come into Uttanasana. Let the head hang. Maybe nod your head a little bit, shake your head a little bit. And then bring your hands to your hips. Press into your feet, rise on up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on your exhale, let your hands come down together in front of your heart. Best part, coming back to mountain. It's like coming home to your mountain, letting yourself just allow the body to adjust itself. Your body really wants to find alignment. So now you have all this energy flowing through your body. As long as you can just get that pelvis aligned and just feel that lift upward through the top of the head. Everything feels easy. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down beside us. Good. Shake out a little bit, move through, whatever you need to move through. We're going to bring our mats to a wall. And we do have plenty of room. So, Tom, maybe one of you guys could come over here. Tom, do you want to? Is that okay? Here. Because I'm way over here, and that'll give you guys more space. So, bring everything with you. We'll stay here. So, let's come on down. Bring your feet back to the wall behind you. So if you're at home and you're able to have a wall behind you, fine. You can also do all this stuff without a wall, so it's not quite as fun sometimes, but you can. So come on down into a little child's pose and just be mindful. Let it feel really easy. You know, you can rest your forehead on your hands. You can reach your arms overhead. You can do that what we did at the beginning, bending your elbows and putting your hands up on your upper back. Bending your arms so that you get that tricep stretch. But you don't have to do that. That's if it feels good. Oh, just appreciate the ground here. Not if you're having a cramp, though. Right. And then we're going to come on forward onto our forearms. So let yourself, at first, let your hands come down to the floor like you're doing Sphinx. All right? Your forearms are parallel. Spread your fingers. Now, to lift up to a dolphin from here without clasping your hands, it might feel really different, but you can try. You can come up to your dolphin there. If you're not in the right place, you need to slide your elbows back or forward a little bit, do. See how it feels to come up a little bit there. And if you're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, come down anytime you want. Because you can come down and decide you'd rather clasp your hands together. And if you'd rather lift a leg up the wall with your arms just the way they are, then you can. And you don't have to, you know, this leg up the wall stuff, totally up to you. Or both legs up the wall. Or walking yourself more, you know, towards your shoulders, being over your elbows. That is up to you. Good. You come rest whenever you need. Take breaks. Move up and down again if you want to. That's up to you. In other words, if being upside down doesn't feel good, just come out of it and be however you need. You can sit with your head above your heart. You can rest in child's pose. Good. So if you are going to go up again one more time, let it be now so you get one more time up there, if that's what you want to do. And then when you do come down to rest, just be mindful, however you need to rest, whether it's sitting with your head above your heart or in your child's pose. Because we are all going to come around to sitting. So let yourself, when you're ready, swing your legs on around. If you need a blanket to sit on, right? Grab a blanket. We're going to do a little bit of bringing our left, hopefully if we can, thigh over our right thigh for either a little half cow face, or some of you will want to do full cow face, okay? So if that's too much, just crossing here to get your knees kind of in line, then cross at your ankle. Just do your ankle above your or below your knee, right? So you have to decide if you feel like you'd rather fold that bottom leg under and come into your full cow face legs, then do it. It's up to you. You know, you want to be mindful, be able to sit up tall, let yourself, and sometimes being on that blanket really helps get you even. Good. Now from here, just bring your, remember, I don't mirror, I forgot to tell you that because it mirrors on the camera. So everybody bring your right arm up overhead, bend your elbow, and then see if you can bring your left hand behind you. Now you can keep it low on your low back, or you can send the hands towards each other. Totally up to you. Be where you can. Imagine your heart is coming forward a little bit so that you look forward and you're not rounding in that upper back that way. Almost like you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release arms down. Let yourself inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So that right hand can come over, across to the outside of the left knee or onto the knee. Bring yourself into twist here. Good. One more breath. And then gently come on back around into center. And we're going to switch legs. So letting that left leg stretch long, bringing the right leg over on top. So again, as the right leg comes on top, you decide, do a figure four if it's better. Let yourself, if you decide you want to fold that bottom leg up under you. Remember, and all of you in here were fine, you're feeling fairly even. You don't want to be floated up off of this right hip. So you want to stay fairly even feeling here. Lengthen up as you bring your arms out beside you. Now again, think about as you bring this left arm up and over and down with the hand. And bring the right hand behind you. You got to decide about keeping that chest forward a little bit, right? You don't need to bring your hands together. You can keep them far apart, but just feel that length up through the top of your head. And again, imagine for a second that you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. So one more breath. And now let your arms come on down. And here we'll take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our right. So your left hand can come to that right knee, or you can drape it across depending on how you're sitting. Let yourself come on around. There you go. And lengthen up through the top of your head. One more breath. And then use your belly to bring you back around into center. Stretch your legs on out long there, both in front of you. You can lean back, circle through your feet, and do little flip-flops. You may decide you want to do little leg bounces too. And then let's bring your hands back to open the chest. Now, either coming into reverse plank, or maybe you would just as soon not lift your hips up and just open your chest right here. Right? If you're okay to come up with your hips for a reverse plank, you can either face fingertips towards the foot of your mat or turn your hands the other way. And then think about lifting up and let yourself bring your gaze where it's comfortable for your neck. You know, you might need to look down towards your feet. You might want to look up. And then we're going to release and let yourself come a little forward. Turn your hands over. Now don't push down into the tops of the hands, but just rest them. As you just easily, you might just want to bow your head, or some of you might want to really fold a little further forward over your legs. That depends on you. Let yourself just release where you can, not forcing anything. Good. We're going to rise on back up from here. And before you lie down, get your strap. So take your strap, have it handy there. Come on down onto the floor on your back. I'm sorry, Randy, I forgot to tell you. And let yourself come on in with your knees for a second. Release a little side to side. You can circle. If it feels good to circle your knees, circle your knees. And then bring your arms out beside you and see if you can now let your knees go a little to the right. Let your head turn to the left. And then come back through center and go the other way. So you can have your knees into your chest to do this. If you'd rather have your feet on the floor, you can do that. You can try a little bit of each if you'd rather. Just letting yourself kind of massage through the back of your head as you just turn your head to go away from the direction your knees are going. And now, end up back at center with everything, and let yourself get your strap. And let's put both feet up into that strap. So, bringing your strap across the balls of both feet. They're up in the air. Knees can be bent. You know that. Just take your time. Let yourself find a way to hold the strap where you don't feel tense. If that means you want to wrap your strap around your hands, do it. If you feel okay to hold your strap, just make sure you're not overly gripping in your hands. And that's easier said than done, I know. Let yourself feel the weight of your shoulders and your arms. And now from here, we're going to slip our left foot out of the strap and very slowly start to lower it down towards the ground. And you're going to feel your back change. Feel how that curve comes back into your low back as the leg comes down and gets to the floor. Once it is on the floor, bend your right knee a little more. You can decide if you feel like coming into a straighter leg or not. So if you can just let the weight of your arms help you release and open the back of the leg a little deeper. Doesn't matter how you're holding. Just breathe. You know, if it feels like your hands are getting grippy, maybe change where you're holding the strap. So if you can, press gently the ball of the right foot into the strap. Remember, you're not pulling the leg towards you. You don't want to feel any discomfort there at your sit bone. So come back out of it. It feels like too much. Now bring both ends of your strap into your right hand, left hand to the top of your left hip there, and open your leg to the right. And it might be just a little bit. It may be that you want to open the leg further out. Totally up to you. Just stay grounded in that left side. Press gently into the strap with the ball of your foot. And then come on back up to the top with the leg. Switch hands. Left hand comes over to get the strap. Stretch your right arm out beside you. Come a little bit over. See if you can press your foot now back into the strap like you're coming back to where you came from with your leg. So the strap is not enabling you to do that. You can get into the outside of that right leg big time. Now you can go deeper over and across if you want into that release over into a twist, depending on you. Stay grounded in that right shoulder. Now one more gentle pressing of the ball of the foot into the strap. Slowly rising back up into center. Now put the left foot up there. So we have both feet up there again. Bend your knees a little bit if you need. Let yourself just release your back there. Feel the difference in your legs. Now we got to take the right foot out of the strap and slowly, and feeling what happens to your back as you go, lowering it down. Feel how that curve comes back into the low back. Everybody's built differently, but there's a little curve in everybody almost. So take your time, bend your knees a little bit, adjust how you're holding your strap if you want to. Start to press into that strap with the ball of the foot. If your leg can come longer, do. And then just again, be with your breath. You're not pulling, you're just letting the weight of your arms help the back of the leg release. It doesn't matter whether the leg is way far away from you or up close to your torso. It just has to do with how you're built, right? So pressing one more time into the ball of the foot strap there. Just really feel that pressure. And then hold on to both ends of the strap in your left hand. Let your right hand come to your right hip and then open to the left without letting that right hip rise up off the floor. So take your time. Again, find that inner thigh. Press gently into the ball of the foot. Now we're going to come back up to the top with the leg, and we're going to reach across with the right hand to get the strap. Stretch your left hand arm out beside you. And again, you just go a little ways at first, and you're kind of pulling down a little bit on the strap, but trying to push your leg back where it came from. There's a lot of activity there on the outside of that left leg. And of course, if you want to go farther into a twist, go for it. You've got to go where it feels good for you. Good. One more full Press into that strap gently with the ball of your foot. And then we'll rise on back up. And let both feet again meet up there in the strap. And we're going to start to separate our feet for a little wide angle. So how far you go, totally up to you. You can keep your feet closer together, 2 feet, 3 feet. You can go farther. You can send your tailbone down a little bit. Let yourself imagine pulling the strap in towards you if you want a little bit more or not. So let yourself open up where you can. And then we'll bring our legs on back up. Go ahead and take your strap off and let your body do just whatever it needs to do right now, right? If you need a happy baby pose, go for it. If you need to bring the soles of your feet together into a Uttanasana, if you need to do a plow pose, do it. If you need to do any other kind of movement, right? If you need a bridge pose, if you'd like to stretch out in any other way or do another twist, because those are deep twists in those when the straps are there, really gets deep. So you may need something a little more relaxing. Take your time. Really be mindful. Allow yourself to give your brain time to already start to quiet down so that you can really just physically respond to what your body needs to do as we get ready for Shavasana. So you know you want to be comfortable for Shavasana. Oh, thank you, Marcia. I'm going to start to walk around in case people, as you get ready here at the studio, would like to have a bolster or a blanket. Wave at me if something sounds good. Remember, if you need a blanket, you just leave it here and I wash them, it's fine. So let me know. It's not fun to be cold after getting warmed up like you did, so just take your time. Let your arms, your legs get comfortable. Feel the ground supporting you. And let yourself now be with your breath. Accepting your breaths in and out. And there's no right way to breathe. Just see if you can accept however your breaths need to come in and out. You're just watching them like you would watch waves of the ocean coming in and going out. Those breaths will quiet. Your mind starts to become quieter. So just give yourself these few minutes to allow your body and your brain to get what they need from all you just did. And let yourself completely and fully relax. gradually come in and go out more fully and deeply. Letting your fingers and your toes, when you're ready, start to wiggle and move at first. And if you could just gradually move up through your extremities, through your hands, your feet, maybe your wrists, your ankles. Let your arms, your legs eventually do what you need to do. Stretch or bend. Take your time. You're welcome to roll onto either side if you're comfortable to do that. You can be on your right or your left side in a soft fetal position. If you're better to stay on your back, you just be mindful of giving yourself time. So you're not rushing, you're just allowing yourself to adjust back. So that when you do feel ready to rise up, it seems easy, seems okay again to start to get your head up there again, up above your heart. But get comfortable in how you're sitting, so if you need to adjust your legs long or cross-legged, doesn't matter. But keep your eyes closed or close them again. See if you can keep your focus internal a little bit longer as you feel the top of the head just gently reaching upward, your sit bones reaching down. And you watch your breath again, coming in and going out through your nose. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Friday. Thank you all.